I said I'm sorry. Why don't you accept it? But you don't mean it. How can you say I don't mean it? It's not always true that the other person deserves it. So I said no. I am in the wrong.
What if forgiveness is just an emotional bandage?
Can I be very personal?
Barry, when you arrived here at the farm yesterday, we had a brief discussion about the filming today, and we said I'm not going to start by introducing you as a retired pastor, become dramatist, writing comedies. As you heard, I had a second thoughts about it. For the reason, because your experience on these two fields is precisely what makes conversations with you so layered. And for today's talk, we've chosen to speak about forgiveness because it is a timeless topic we human wrestle with.
You know why? To forgive comes at a price. It comes at a price. You have to let go of grudges, let go of feelings of revenge because that one person wronged me and I'm carrying it with me, keeping it alive within my innermost soul. To forgive, you must let go of that.
How do we forgive somebody who doesn't acknowledge wrongdoing? It feels as if letting the person off the hook.
Real forgiveness is not dependent on your being sorry, your asking for forgiveness. Because if I give it to you because you oblige me to do that, then it's not a gift. Forgiveness is a gift that comes from my heart. It's not always true that the other person deserves it. If I give you forgiveness, although you don't deserve it, that's true forgiveness which sets you free.
I spoke at my last episode about passing of my niece. She lived in another continent, and by the time I got to see her, it was too late. And my family came with us. My niece had specially made it for me to bring to South Africa when she comes to visit. She passed away before she could do that. And this is in a special place in my house. Although I have asked her forgiveness in my mind and heart and forgiven myself, yet every time when I approach it, I get that feeling of still regret.
Let me first put it very bluntly and clearly that nobody can forgive and forget. That forget is a pie in the sky. It doesn't happen. It will stay with you. I mean, things that I did to my children, not big things, but negative things. And what I did to my wife will never be forgotten. Let's not fool ourselves. You will always still feel a little bit of regret. Why didn't I just make that phone call? Why didn't I? Why? And again, it's the why of looking back. While if you forgive, it takes the sting out of the regret. It's like drilling a what's a spiker in English?
Nail.
A nail into wood. And that's the wrongdoing that I do. When I take it out, I, through forgiveness, remove the nail. But the hole's still there. So it doesn't take the hole away. But the hole becomes a reminder that the pain isn't there anymore. Can I be very personal? Long ago, 25 years ago, I cheated on my wife as a minister. It had dire consequences. I was censured by my church for at least a year. It brought immense pain in our whole family. I knew it was wrong. I knew it was wrong. And I was full of remorse and regret. But forgiveness doesn't come like this. It sometimes takes time to work through it and to take what happened seriously.
It's a process.
And it's a process. It's a process for the person, like my wife, being wronged and me doing the wrong thing. But when we work through it, not looking back, but looking forward. For the last 10 years, my wife sadly died about 10 years ago. But the 10 years following what I did, we had a growing and deepening relationship.
Did your understanding of forgiveness change when you became the one needing it?
I needed forgiveness from my wife, from my church, from my friends, from my children. That in itself changed my perception. I realized I couldn't force them to forgive me. I must accept the gift that they give me. It also helped me to realize that I must be wholeheartedly honest in my regret and in my admission of guilt. Not to get off the hook, but to free myself of the burden of which I did. And as a minister, it shaped me to be a person of compassion, never pointing a finger at other people's wrongdoings, never going out of my way to belittle people that don't succeed in life, because I know I was there. That's the wonderful thing of eventually being forgiven. And it helps you also to unequivocally forgive.
Thank you, Barry, for that and sharing your story. Forgiveness for yourself is probably the hardest. You assisted with beta reading both of my novels, Imprinted Curse and Circle with Three Corners, and you got to know the characters very well. And the main character, Emily, struggled with forgiveness because it didn't mean justice.
Real, true, unadulterated forgiveness. It doesn't stop the process of justice, because he has to carry the consequences. When I did what I did, there was a commission from the church that had to preside over what I did. And their advice to me is just quit the church, quit the ministry, go your separate way, and everything stops, because then the church don't have any jurisdiction over you anymore, because you're not no longer a member of the church or of the ministry. And I said no. Because my dad, which was a wonderful Christian, he said, van Rensburg doesn't run away. He doesn't run away. So I said no. I am in the wrong. I transgressed. You have to follow the path of church justice. I paid my dues. There are still people that look at me with a suspicious eye, and that's fine with me. But inside, I feel totally free, because justice was done. Because I was wrong, and I had to be punished. But it also made me free in the sense that it wasn't a thing of just getting rid of the guilt, but also of the shame, but also being rid of the power, the grip that regret or grudge, yes, or anger has on me as a person. I'm freed of that.
Your plays are about human experience. Why camouflage the serious topics with comedy?
Correctly said, it's about the human experience. And it's such a nice thing to address that on the stage. I find that very, very lekker for me to do that. because comedy relaxes you. And you can say a lot of things through comedy that otherwise would have offended you.
We are more open to the truth.
We are more open to the truth. And everybody smiles. If it wasn't for comedy, it would have been offensive. I'll give you an example. I wrote a play in Afrikaans called Die Narre Werklikheid. It's the worst, horrible truths of life.
Tragic comedy.
But it's tragic comedy. It's two little boys that grows up in the circus because mom's is a contortionist. But what they don't know is that mom was an alcoholic. And she knew that she couldn't do a good mother job being an alcoholic. So she goes to rehab. But just telling her kids she'll be back for 3 months. So she dies there at the rehab center. And they were left behind without a mom, not knowing that she's dead. She's just gone. But in the process, they start blaming each other for the reason why mom left. So in a very subtle way, through tragic comedy, I'm putting the whole concept of forgiveness on the stage and talking to the audience and say, perhaps you should also not be so harsh in your condemnation of people, but forgive and let life go on.
That leads to my next question. Has any of your characters said something that you never could yourself bring to say?
Not really. Maybe I'm not just honest enough with myself to realize that you are actually now touching on a very interesting subject. I will have to go and revisit some of my plays. Maybe it's true.
Barry, if your life were a novel, which excerpt you would hope that the readers would highlight?
I'm going to circumvent your question by saying the parable of Jesus, of the prodigal son, the son that had everything and then told his dad, give me my inheritance. He went to a far land, squandered it, morsed it out. And when he was in the direst of situations, he realized what he has done. I will stand up, go back to my dad, and I'll plead with him. I'll ask forgiveness and I'll say, listen, I don't deserve to be your son anymore. I'll be willing to be your servant. And when he comes back, and the parable that Jesus tells says, when he was still far away, his dad saw him. And the dad ran to him, grabbed him, and everything was forgiven. And that's what I experienced in my life. I didn't only betray my wife, not only betrayed my church, I betrayed my God. And he ran towards me. And I will be always grateful for eternity.
You make me cry. Thank you. Is there a question that I haven't asked you that you would have liked me to have asked you?
Maybe, are there things that you should not forgive?
You're asking me that question, and what I personally learned from this discussion with you, forgiveness is not just the freedom, it is the power and it's the growth that plants that seed for looking forward. So perhaps indeed there isn't a situation that we can't forgive. Forgiveness is something that we need to keep on trying and aiming for. Different situation in our lives call us to the forgiveness again and again.
You must at certain stages forgive yourself for not being able to forgive at this stage. You must forgive yourself. I'm not at this point in time at the right place. I still feel stickened inside, broken, and give myself leeway to work through that process, because forgiveness leads to healing and to growing. And growing is a slow process. But you don't even realize that you're growing till at one stage you look back and you see.
Until the words become the heart.
Exactly. And the fruits of love, of joy is eminent and is visible in your life. And without realizing it, you know it started with forgiveness.
This is a topic many of us have grappled with, at least at some point in life. Before you leave, please share what it meant to you in the comments, because your words might help and be valuable to someone else.